Yo, what's good YouTube? It's your boy JY. We're here at the UK National Championships 2022 with my boy Azad.
That's me.
You got top 32. What was your record in Swiss?
X2-1.
X2-1. It was 10 round Swiss, 840 people, the biggest ever UK Nationals we've ever had. And what'd you play?
I played Salamangreat, a very pure Salamangreat list.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is your first time playing UK Nationals, right?
This is my first time playing UK Nationals, correct.
Yeah, so congrats on topping your first try.
Thank you, thank you.
What was the experience like for you, being someone from the States?
It was actually a very fun tournament. There were a lot of people that thought that I was just like visiting and just decided to like play in UK Nationals. Just flew over just for UK Nationals. But I do live in the UK actually. So yeah, and there was actually like a lot of like weird, like kind of like snarky comments about how, not about me being American, just like about like, how did you make it with Salamangreat, or like, why did you choose to play? I had probably like 4 opponents ask me like, so what made you choose like Salamangreat? Like in a kind of like condescending way. Like it's kind of a meme deck, but I don't know, I think it's pretty good.
What made you choose Salamangreat then?
Right, okay, I chose Salamangreat because every deck is terrible in its own way. Salamangreat is actually not excluded from that. But the thing about Salamangreat is it has like the highest chance of actually being able to play. Most decks, they just have far too many hands that will lose to like one hand trap, for example. Like Despia, like there was a good amount of hands where like Ash on Branded Fusion will end your turn. And similarly for Sword Soul. Just having to deal with like being targeted so heavily and also just passing to an imperm a lot of the times as well. I felt like Salamangreat was the most resilient deck, and I wouldn't be like losing that often or as often as other decks to just like a single hand trap. And also the non-engine cards that people are playing right now are very bad into Salamangreat. So like Imperm and Effect Veiler and Droplet are all very bad cards into Salamangreat. And the only real like good blowout card is Nibiru, which most people are not main decking and some even aren't siding it. But I also have something for Nibiru post side.
Okay, cool, yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed like a good meta call. Let's see what you played. Show us.
Okay, so I'm actually going to start with the engine cards.
Okay.
So first is 3 Bufferlow,
Yeah.
3 Spinny, 3 Foxy, 2 Jack Jaguar. This card is actually supposed to be a 3 of because post Decode Talker Heat Soul, this card can be a 1-card Heat Soul. So like when you open only Spinny, or let's say like Bufferlow pitch Spinny, it's like not nearly as good as like pitching a Jaguar. But I'd still play 3 Spinny, but yeah, I think Jaguar needs to be up to 3. And then I played 1 Gazelle and 1 Falco. The most likely scenario is that this Falco becomes Jaguar, because Falco doesn't really do anything in your hand. Using its effect like comes up in really cute scenarios in games that you were probably like already winning. Like it's nice to like play around Nibiru sometimes, but it doesn't really play around it. It just like adds Gazelle back to your hand first. But yeah, and then for spells, it is 3 Circle, 3 Will. I was trying to play a lot of gas in this list, just because there is a lot of, or actually there isn't a lot of like good non-engine cards right now, because the format is so diverse that you can't really play that many non-engine cards that are good. I played 3 Signet Mining, 1 Sanctuary, 2 Desires, and then I just played 1 of each of the traps.
Okay.
And then now I will move on to my non-engine cards. So it's just standard hand trap lineup: 3 Ash, 3 Veiler, 3 Imperm. I think these are the only hand traps that you actually can main deck right now that like aren't terrible against everything.
Yeah.
I think like once you get to like the next best hand trap, I'm not even sure what it'd be, like DD Crow or something maybe. Or maybe Nibiru, it just becomes like so much worse that it's just not worth playing. And then I played 3 Droplet and 1 Called by the Grave. Droplet was really nice because obviously this deck can do the access code OTK very easily, and a lot of the times you just use it to have their monsters. Like there were times where I've just used it to like half a monster that didn't even have a relevant effect just so I can beat over it with access code. And then now onto the extra deck. I played 3 Balinks, 3 Sunlight Wolf, the Stalio, and then for more utility link monsters, I played Heat Soul. This is actually not a Heat Soul deck, so a lot of people play Salamangreat as a Heat Soul deck. I actually did not make this in the entire tournament. I might have made it once, but it's literally just like, if you open like just Jaguar or something, or your hand like isn't that good, you will just Splash Mage into Heat Soul. And then I did play Splash Mage, Update Jammer, Transcode, Access Code, Appaloosa. This card comes up a lot when you just have like a lot of like random Salamangreat monsters on your board. Like if your Gazelle gets impermed or Veilered and you can't send a trap, then there's no reason to leave your Sunlight Wolf up, so you just throw all your monsters in the end phase into an Appaloosa. And then this was like my big tech card of the weekend. It didn't come up very much. It mostly comes up in the Despia matchup, but it is the Arrival Cybers. What it mostly comes up against is like Despia, where your normal like transcode OTK like isn't viable because it probably can't kill them, and a lot of the times that happens because they have like a Masquerade or a Snow and Graveyard that they could just chump block, and you can't opt to make like a real play because Despia's crackback is like really aggressive sometimes, so you can't just like try to like set up like a Rage and a Roar and like hope it gets you there. So you just make the Arrival Cybers, and most of the time they can't do anything. I think their only out is like Titaniclad, which a lot don't even play, and also that one Predaplant fusion monster that most people don't play.
Starving Venom?
Yeah, Starving Venom. A lot of people don't play that one either, but if you have like a Droplet Veiler Imperm to back it up, they don't have an out. And then the last card is Baguska. You just summon this going first slot. Sometimes you summon it into a board, so that way you can kind of like safely go for like an access code line.
What's the biggest you ever made the Arrival?
4,000, so sorry, I should mention that. So any 4 monsters can make it for 3,000, and any 5 monsters can make it for 4,000. And that's like pretty easy in like a Salamangreat deck that like plays 3 will and like a lot of gas in it. So yeah. And then side deck, sorry. I didn't pull this one out.
Yeah, no worries.
I didn't side that much for going first post side. It just didn't come up that much, but Ibli was a really good card in testing. It won me like 1 game at the tournament. So essentially like you link off into Balinks with this, and you can give this card to your opponent, and they can only special summon link monsters. So that means they can't Nibiru you, and now they have a monster. They can't Imperm you, they can't Evenly you, they can't Lightning Storm you. And also they can't crash this because you can use the effect of Sanctuary to make your link monster 0 attack. So they cannot crash their Ibli in their battle phase. So Despia and Sword Soul do not have an out to this card outside of non-engine. Yeah, I guess they could like Droplet it. Most people do not leave Droplet in for Salamangreat going second because there's not really anything to Droplet. And then I played 3 Twin Twister, 3 Foolish Return. That's for like the Despia matchup. I think it's like the best card against Despia. 3 Dark Ruler, just for like the punk variants, and 3 Nibiru. That's just obviously for like Salamangreat and Sword Soul. I didn't play Salamangreat Mirror, I played a lot of Sword Soul though. Yeah. And that is the entire deck. I didn't play Parallel Exceed. I think that's like kind of like one of the big things about my list. I felt that Parallel Exceed is very confining in your plays. You can only really do like one thing with it, is make Baguska. Not that that's like a bad thing, but it's like, it feels very much like a going first card. And like going second, like you could just use it as link material, but like it's not really like an amazing level. Like you'd prefer like level 3 monsters. Yeah, like, and it also like combos really poorly with Bufferlo. So you just want cards that like can always do something and can always do many things. So like using other gas cards like Will and like extra copies of like all your Salamangreats, just playing 3 of all the Salamangreats, they're like more flexible gas cards that you can use for things other than just like making a Baguska. Like you can link off with them, you can make a Mirage Stelia with them. It just gives you a lot more flexibility. So that's why I did not play Parallax Seed. And also there's not 3 cards in my deck that I would be willing to take out. Maybe 1 card, like I could take out a Falco, but then I have to take out 2 more cards. So I don't think there's 3 cards that are worse than Parallax Seed in my deck at the moment.
Yeah, awesome. Like that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
To be honest. And yeah, thank you for the profile.
Yes, of course.
Any shout-outs?
Barfa, because he let me borrow a Salamangreat extra deck, so thank you to him. And also Charlie Kip for letting me borrow Droplets. I am not playing this deck because I can't afford another deck, I promise. I know this is like a really cheap deck, but I actually think it's a good deck.
Okay.
I was gonna play like Punker Despia, but I chose this like last week.
Yeah. Also, shout out to the floor because
Yeah.
there's nowhere for us to record.
Yes, the media room was not a media room, it was a loud cafeteria. So we are recording on the floor.
All right, Azad, thanks for the profile, and I hope to see you in Top Card soon.
Yes.
Like and subscribe, baby. Take care. Bye.